Welcome to the Rock Your Comeback podcast. I'm Nichole Eaton, author of the books Rock Your Soul and Rock Your Comeback, as well as an intuitive therapist, and I'm here to remind you of your power. This podcast focuses on mindset and inviting the universe in to create a life that feels so good, so aligned, and so authentic. I hope you're ready. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Rock Your Comeback podcast. This episode is so much fun. If you have been feeling this energy, if you are tired or overwhelmed or life just feels absolutely fucking crazy right now, this is your episode. Christy Forsyth and I, one of my favorite humans in the entire universe, we are going to walk through how to handle the retrograde coming and the lunar eclipses and how it may be impacting you and how to not just survive through it, but thrive through it. And if you've over on the Comeback Club, you already saw this because you got early access released to this podcast. So if you're not on the Comeback Club, if you're not over there, you should be, because we're doing fun stuff over there. You're getting sneak peeks of everything way earlier than everybody else. We're doing a live Q&A next month, so it is personalized to you. You can sign up for time slots. And Samantha Blossom joins us this Friday for one of the most powerful classes that I've ever even looked at. This is all about self-love. And she teaches it in a way that I don't, it's totally new to me. So I think you guys are going to love it just as much as I do. And yeah, it's only $22 a month for access to all the courses I've ever made. And you can try it out for $5 with the code THINKS22. So I will drop the link in this show notes, or you can go over to the website, NicholeEaton.com, and check that out. I hope you let us know what you think about this, and I hope you love it, because there will be more coming with Christy and I doing a monthly glow up for you all so that you can get your shit together with this energy, because we love that for you. So let us know what you think, leave a review, share with a friend who needs it, and we've got you. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Rock Your Comeback podcast. I'm your host, Nichole Eaton, and today I'm here with one of my favorite humans. I feel like I say that a lot just because I get to do these podcasts with incredible people. But this person is like my other spiritual half. And if you don't know her, I want to introduce you to Christy Forsyth.
Yeah, I'm like top tier favorite.
There's no competition is actually what I meant. Christy and I, we started a business together called Clarity. So a lot of you know us both from Clarity. And then when I moved, we kind of split forces and kind of did our own thing, but we fucking miss each other. So we're back, and you're probably stuck with us for a bit.
Yeah. And I was just realizing, I just looked at the date. We were together a month ago on this day.
Putting my hand hurt to you. We were together a month ago because Christy and I decided that, we wanted to impact people in person in a new way. And so we wanted to try our hands at a retreat. And honestly, what came from the retreat was so much more than I felt good about it the whole time, but it was just so much more. And even we have a little group chat with all of the folks from the retreat, and even the things that are still happening for people from that 2-day, 3-day weekend that we hosted back in February is freaking wild. Like that was a pivot point for every single person who attended.
I mean, myself included, right? Like you said, it was so much more than I could have ever expected. I knew I would have fun with you. I knew that we would help some people, but I didn't expect to walk away from that feeling the level of alignment that I felt, and to watch the progress that everyone made over the course of 48 hours was so incredible.
And so we are planning another retreat, hopefully in October. That's the intention right now. We are looking for the perfect place to host a couple more people, because there were so many people who said I wanted to come and they didn't make the cut for the amount of spaces we had. So while we're doing that, while we're looking for our next retreat venue, we decided we would give you guys a monthly glow up.
Because we like to spend time together, and we do some really incredible things together. So we're excited to be just joining forces again and doing some stuff together.
Yeah, and I think you'll see a lot more happy surprises from Christy and I collaborating, not just the retreats, but maybe in other ways as well. But yes, you can expect her on this podcast once a month for your monthly glow up. And the monthly glow up is really going to talk about how you can be a glowed up version of you. And like, we're not just talking, and maybe we will talk about like, physical glow ups, but right now, like, we're talking about like on a soul level, how do I glow up into a version of myself that I'm fucking obsessed with, that I love, that I feel so comfortable in my skin that it just feels like, ooh.
Right. Like, how do I glow from the inside out so that I'm all shiny and sparkly?
That's the goal. So
Yeah.
say we're in this season of eclipses. And I think you know a lot more about that than I do. So for anybody listening, could you explain like what that is and what that means?
I mean, this is like, I mean, buckle the fuck up. Because like it's a wild ride. And I can already feel it coming in. I know you feel it too. Like just like this build up in the energy.
Higher.
And so with eclipses, like they always occur together. So they occur within a couple of weeks from each other, right? So we don't just have this big solar eclipse coming up on April 8th that everybody's talking about. We also have a lunar eclipse that's happening on Monday, the 25th, that's opening up this eclipse portal, right? So it's just this incredible time of change and transition. And I always say that eclipse season and the eclipses have this way of picking us up and putting us back down where we're meant to be. So there's like all of this stuff that's happening. And in the midst of that, there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of exploration as to like where we're meant to be, what this is supposed to look like. And there's a lot of call to go within and let ourselves process that. But there's also happening on the outside of us, the universe, God, the divine, whatever you want to call that, is doing all of this work for us, moving parts around, making things happen for us so that we can be on our best life path, which sounds really incredible, but it can look chaotic. It can feel like, is my life falling apart, or is what's happening here? Because so much is changing and transitioning, or there's just like all of these shifts that are happening. These can be shifts within ourselves that feel a little bit more subtle, or they can be massive shifts in our lives. So it's kind of a big deal.
It's a very big deal. Okay, so I like yelled at you while you were talking, but like I'm so tired.
Yeah.
Like I feel drained. I'm having more coffee than I've ever had just to stay awake for the second half of my day. And that's not like me at all. Like usually like I have, a little lull in the afternoon, but for the most part, like I can make it to 6 p.m. But like I even just now I texted you, I was like, hey, do you want to do this a little early? I've got time. And then I laid down in my bed and I was just like, I don't want to move. And I did, and I was like half falling asleep. And I'm like, okay, I gotta get together. But I've been so tired. And I know like just in change wise, I mean, my life looks wildly unrecognizable than it did a week ago even. And I'm adjusting to it because it's not necessarily a bad thing that it looks unrecognizable. It's just new, and I'm trying to sort out how I'm spending my time and energy and what I'm doing with like my free time and what that looks like. And so I think that can be, I think it can be positive change. I think when we talk about astrology, a lot of times in these big astrological events, that people get real freaked out because they're like, oh no, my life changes. And for people who hate change, like that's fucking scary to have this like looming idea that like maybe something crazy will change in your life today or this week or in the next 3 weeks. And I like to remind people that it doesn't have to be bad change. Like change can be really good and relieving and um, exciting, and maybe what you needed, even if you didn't see it coming.
Yeah, I think that eclipses have this way of creating exactly that kind of change, right? Where it's like maybe in the moment it feels kind of stressful and there are adjustments that are happening, or it feels very confusing. Like you don't understand where this is going, because that's very much the energy is like, where is this? Where is it going? What's happening? I don't get it, right? But when we look back on the changes that happen around this time, these tend to be those changes that are very clearly meant for us and brought us to a place where we're able to receive these blessings that have been wanting to come through for us, but there hasn't been space for it, or these things that needed to be cleared out in order to allow for something better to come along. And so there's all this movement, but it all is working out for our highest and best good. And that's what I try to remind myself through this is there's a bigger plan here. And we're so supported in this if we can let it be an adventure. That's been my word around this is like, can we let it be an adventure? And just kind of see where this is going, because there's a lot of cliffhangers right now, right? Where we're just like, okay, I don't know where that's going. And the energy's all revved up, but can we just lean into the adventure of it and see where it's taking us? Even if you're not the most adventurous person, I don't like change.
Indeed, not like change.
I do not. I'm a Taurus, right? We don't love change at all. But I have learned that if I let myself flow with it and let it be an adventure, it really does lead me into some incredible places. So I've learned that and allow that now. And that's, I think, really important for people to be doing right now.
I do Friday pep talks on the Comeback Club, which is my online membership space. And I was saying that, the things that the universe has in store for you might be so fucking good, but you don't know about them yet. And so you can't possibly want something you don't know about. But it's possible that the thing that the universe is moving out of your way was just not good enough for you. Like at the end of the day, like it might have just not been fucking good enough for you. And so if we think about God as like a parent to us, then the parent wants what's best for you and wants what's good enough for you. And sometimes, like I know my children are starting the process of like dating and stuff. And I want to, scream at some of the things that's happening of like, that's not enough for you. Like you're fucking special. You're gold. You can have more. Like that's going to break your heart if you go that direction. And like the universe is the same fucking way. And if we can look at it like that, then we can almost keep our heart open and our palms open to have anything in our life removed that isn't good enough for us, that isn't big enough for us in some cases. I think that this year is about not shrinking and not staying small for a lot of people. And if we're tightly gripping something that's suffocating us or shrinking us, we're putting ourselves in a position to not be seen, to not be heard, to not be valued. And the universe doesn't want you to play fucking small anymore. So this season is, in this portal of this eclipse is about reminding you of who the fuck you are and what you're capable of. And if you can flow with that and keep that perspective of like, ooh, I wonder what I don't know about that's even better than this, that's a game changer.
Absolutely. God doesn't want you to settle. And so this is about elevating your life and allowing that process, because quite frankly, when we're operating out of our ego, which like we all operate out of our ego often, and that's not a bad thing. We're human. But when we're operating and choosing from our ego, we are keeping ourselves and our options very limited. And God says, but like, what about all these options that are amazing for you and so much better for you? Yeah. So I'm gonna move things around. I'm gonna create eclipses to allow this process to happen.
Yeah, you only know what you know. Mm-hmm. And I think that we can get caught in the scarcity thinking that it's this or that there's only one option, that there's only two options, that one thing we know about us. And the other thing I was saying in the Comeback Club earlier was that if you've decided that this one job opportunity, this one place you want to go to school, this one thing is going to say something about you, that it's going to define your worth, that it's going to make you happy, that you're putting all of this energy into this one thing. And if it doesn't work out, then it means that you're not good enough, that you're not worthy, that you don't get to have or be successful, that you don't get to have love, that you like, if you decide that one scenario, one situation, one experience means and predicts your future in some sort of way, that's also where you'll get in trouble.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
it's easy to do. It's easy to lose a job and be like, fuck, that was everything. Like, I like worked so hard for that. What do I do now? Like, am I just gonna have to get like a minimum wage job at freaking McDonald's? Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, but what this season is saying is there's more options. And sometimes we have to get rid of the options that are out of alignment for whatever reason. When Christy and I used to work at a not-for-profit, and I loved it. I didn't get paid shit, but I loved it. It was the most homey, wonderful place. And it felt so nice all the time. The people were amazing. And when it was time for us to shift out to open our own business, it started getting wildly uncomfortable out of nowhere. I remember pulling in we had a new supervisor that just had some different rules and different things that were going on that was making it really like odd and uncomfortable and like questioning our authority and that kind of thing. And I remember pulling into the parking lot and just not wanting to go inside after I had loved this job for so long and I just never even saw myself leaving it. And that's what eclipse season is. It's the discomfort of what has always been to give you permission to step into what will be.
Yeah. And it's showing us, it's guiding us through this process. So I think that it's important, as much as I expect that we'll feel confused in it, to pay attention and to start to connect the dots and to collect information, to pay attention to where we are feeling called to not only allow change, but to make changes within ourselves, right? What actions are we feeling called to change? Where are we feeling called to make adjustments so that our life will feel better? This specific eclipse axis is going to be in Libra and Aries. And that's all about relationships and independence. So I expect that a lot of the things that are going to be coming up during this are going to be around relationships and where we want to make changes in regard to relationships, where maybe relationships are needing to change for us, and that's going to just be happening for us or be creating change for us. And then also, where do we need to create more independence in our life? Or also, I feel like in this energy, it's like the other side of that, where am I being too independent? Where do I need to start to allow some help? And I know, like, for me, that's a big part that's coming in, and a theme that's coming up for me is like, where do I need to allow more help and let go of the control a bit, so that, that I don't have to always be so independent with things. So I think that that's a big part of the work that we're doing. This is not easy stuff. Relationships are tough.
Christy caught a mouse before she went on today, and that's all I can think about while you're telling this is she was like, I had to like let it go. And I was like, I would have paid somebody $200 to get rid of that for me. Like, there are ways I am fiercely independent, but if it crawls, that's not my wheelhouse, So.
And I wanted to. I was saying to Nichole before the call, like, I had to open the trap to let it go. And like, I had to run back inside. No, now it's dead. Like, it's one of those traps that electrocutes it. I found like the most humane way. I hate this. I hate it. But so it was dead, but I had to open it and run back inside and then go back outside and dump it out. Right. But and we're going to call it an opportunity there for me to also ask for help. And I probably could have done that.
I'm just saying I would have. I think that like moves quickly. Like, no, not my wheelhouse. But yes, this is a time for you to, I think one of the themes for me today with conversations I've had with clients has been like black and white thinking of like absolute rules when it comes to retrograde, absolute rules when it comes to alcohol, absolute rules when it comes to eating clean. Like all of these like questions of like, well, Nichole, you went out and had a drink last night. Doesn't that lower your vibration? And my response was sometimes for sure. I don't drink if I am not in a good spot because I know better, like I know that's going to make it worse. But I had a lot of fun last night. I woke up feeling great. So like you can intuitively feel through when you need to be more independent and when you maybe are ready to invite in help. And that's true for all the things that I just listed, plus more. Like there's no rules except for the ones that feel true and right for you. And there's no rules except for, the ones you create for yourself. And it may change throughout your life. It may change as you progress and grow. But you can only tell what's going to work for you if you come back in. If you like spend a little bit of time listening to yourself, listening to your gut, listening to your feelings on things.
Absolutely. And like a big part of what I'm feeling with this energy is this call for us to figure out, how do we simplify things? How do I make this more simple? Because we're humans and we have this tendency to make it really complicated, to make everything really complicated. So I think that part of the guidance is going to be coming through for us. And what we're being shown is, how can I make this more simple? What changes do I need to make it more simple? Where can the universe step in and help me more with things? Where I can allow that, where I can ask for that help. And it can become simpler that way too. So where does it get to be easier and more simple? That's been a huge theme in the energy for a little while now, is us leaning into the ease, because I think for so long, this energy and these astrological alignments, all of it has just like brought us to hell and back. It's been a lot. We've been doing a lot of work collectively for the past several years. And so, what does that look like on the other side of that? We have armor. We are protecting ourselves and feeling like, I don't know if I dare go back out there again. I don't know if I dare take this opportunity, put myself out there, be vulnerable. And so there's this energy of us protecting ourselves. And in some ways, we can simplify our lives by choosing to lean into the ease and choosing to let ourselves follow the flow of where we're being led, even if that feels scary, even if that feels like we want to go back and protect ourselves and keep ourselves stuck in these old patterns. So there's this real call to let that shift and change and develop into what it needs to be. And I truly feel like with this energy that as we allow that is like the call where we're being led is to ease, is to simple, is to it not being so complicated and hard.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely like relate to the whole protective thing. And just like my brain naturally wanting to go there. I've been manifesting this past week really easily, like very easily. Manifestations are coming in for me in areas that I wasn't feeling super hopeful about, to be honest. And I felt like today I had a couple of emails come through and I was like, ooh, like, holy shit, this is like really coming in for me. And then I had this moment of like, do not put your hope in that. Like I had that like secondary, like, do not get too hopeful about this because the last 6 months, this area has not been working well. And so it was a good reminder to just stay in the present moment of the experience and the emotion that I was having and just allow it to be there, because that protective layer of me wanted to be like, don't even fucking respond. Don't get your hopes. Like, it was just so clear at what was happening and how it is easy to protect ourselves, because I don't know about you, but like half my clients, like it's been a hard season the last like 6 months of just this like feeling of being let down. And not just like let down by like your own actions or by yourself, but like also by God, by the universe, by the process of manifesting. And so I think people are starting to see more things coming through and like a loosening of the energy and a loosening of the blockages. But I think there's a caution around it where people are like, it doesn't feel safe to like believe in something good can happen in this area of my life, because it hasn't been that way for a long time.
Right. It's like that question of when is the other shoe going to drop? Because I agree. I think a lot of things are happening for people. And if they're not seeing that, I think we can feel that energetically too. But then you like talk yourself out of that too, right? Like, am I crazy that I'm feeling these good things coming because I've been waiting for so long and I can feel it, but I haven't seen it yet? Or when something great is actually manifesting, then there's that question of, okay, but this is great. Is it actually as great as it seems? Or when is the other shoe going to drop? And so I'm seeing a lot of work being done myself and with the clients that I work with around all of that stuff too.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we have like, I mean, we have this eclipse season, but then on April 1st, we go into Mercury retrograde, which has like Mercury retrograde is like this Scorpio of the zodiac. It has like a really bad reputation. And it does, and rightfully so. Mercury retrograde causes a lot of issues. However, I like to remind people that you don't give your power over to astrology ever. If you want to be an observer of an experience and know that it's retrograde and know that like, okay, if something's coming up or you know, I have to communicate something, I want to be extra clear. Like, I like to use it as information so that I can do preventatively the things that I need to do, not so I can decide my next 3 weeks has to be hell, you know?
Exactly. And I mean, it is going to be intense. It's happening right there, smack in the middle of that eclipse portal, right? So we already have all the eclipse stuff, and then we add that in. So it is going to be intense. So have that knowing that it's going to be intense so you can prepare for it. I always say, like, when I do my energy readings, I mean them to be like this, like a weather report, but for the energy, right? Where it's like, this is what to expect. This is the day that you bring the umbrella with you. This is so you know how to navigate that, because when you understand what's happening with the energy, then you can understand how to use it to your benefit. And I think in this case, it's like letting it show you what needs to change, where do you need to simplify things, what isn't working anymore, where do you need to change? And also, I mean, like you were saying earlier, I don't think that these changes all are going to feel bad, right? So can we lean into the blessings of what's showing up as well? Because I think there's going to be a lot of movement during this 2 week period of time where things are starting to hit, right? Where divine timing is hitting, where we're seeing concrete evidence of the things that we want to manifest happening. I think that there's a lot of good in that. So can we lean into that and maybe lean into this idea of having faith in the process, having trust in the process, and letting ourselves build our faith muscles a little bit through this journey. I think there's opportunities in the energy.
Yeah. And I like to remind people, like, just don't take things personally. Like, if your car breaks down on the highway, like, I don't know, like, there's just things where the universe is trying to slow you down, so that you can have that time to reflect. I remember like distinctly, we were hosting a class in Elmira a long time ago. One of the first times I started to recognize retrograde for like what it was. And I'm driving to it. I get a phone call. I pull off, and this was a long time ago, so my car did not have automatic lights. And I pull off and I turn my car off so I can take this call. And I left my lights on while I was on this call, and it was longer than intended, and it killed my battery in my car. So I'm on my way to a class that we're hosting. There's like 35, 40 people, maybe more, expecting to attend, and I'm stuck. And I don't live anywhere near there. So like somebody coming to save me, because everybody that I know is at that class because they're waiting for me to show up. And then like I lived up in, 30 minutes away from there. So like my husband wasn't going to come down to get me. So it was just this slowdown. But at that time, we were just in the midst of a brand new business, and we were going. And I was so burnt out and so tired, and nothing in me really wanted to go to that class, if I'm being perfectly honest, because I was so burnt out and I knew it was going to be a lot of work. And I remember sitting there just knowing that that was the universe's way of slowing me down, and that I wasn't going to do it myself because I was trying to get this business off the ground with you. And so I think that, one, if we don't take things personally, it helps a lot. If we just observe it, like if we can kind of stay in that, like, oh, I wonder what this is happening for, I think it helps. Number two, you're going to see more chaos if you're out of alignment. That is if you want to really know how to have a good Mercury retrograde, figure out now what things are working and what things aren't working in your life, so that you can make some corrections, come back within and just check in with yourself around your job or your relationships or what you're needing in your friendships or your family or your whatever. If you can do that, that's going to be so helpful, so that the universe doesn't have to do it for you.
And it really is an opportunity too. I mean, we're here on earth to learn and to grow. And that can be frustrating for sure. But that's what we're here to do. It's school. And it's school for our soul. And so I always feel like planetary alignments like this are that opportunity to make conscious what is unconscious for us, what we need to know, what we need to understand in order for us to level up in our lives. I love during these time periods to take, I call it the video game approach, right? To almost like mentally and emotionally try to take a step back from everything that's happening and just observe it and remind myself that this is all just an illusion anyway, and that it's all happening for my learning, for my growth, or for my development, and everything that's happening is happening for a reason. And so I take that step back and I just observe it, and I recognize, what are the patterns that are showing up for me? What does it seem like I'm supposed to be learning? And what am I being called to do, if anything? What actions am I being called to take that feel like they're going to take me to the next level of the video game? Because that's exactly what this energy is about, is like bringing you into a level up. And I really feel like specifically these eclipses are meant to bring us into a very significant level up in our lives, if we choose to use it as an opportunity.
Yeah, agreed. I think we've given you a lot of things to think about over the next couple weeks. And Christy and I offer so much support in so many different ways. We both have online memberships. I'll post all of the links to that in the show notes. We also do sessions. So if you feel called, and keep an eye out for our retreat coming up in October, so that you can jump in and get your glow up. But is there anything else you want to add?
Just let us know what you guys think about us doing some things together. We always love to hear that. And maybe some things that you'd like to see us do together. We are very open to your feedback. We just like to spend time together and do amazing things together. So I can't wait to hear what ideas you guys have.
Yeah, let us know. Shoot us a message, and share this podcast with anybody who you feel like needs it, whoever needs to go into this this energy with being aware, being in their power, because that's really all you can do. Is you can be in your power, you can have the good intentions, and you can flow with what shows up. All right, guys, we will catch you next month with another monthly glow up update for April. Bye.
See you guys soon. Bye.
Thanks for listening. Make sure to get a copy of my latest book, Rock Your Comeback, The Down to Earth Guide to Reclaiming Your Power, just about everywhere books are sold. Join the Comeback Club for exclusive access, masterclasses, and more. And I always love to know what you think, so make sure to shoot me a DM or leave me a review. Thanks for listening to the Rock Your Comeback podcast. I hope you're feeling inspired, motivated, and ready to take on the world. Now go step back into your power. The world's been waiting for you. But first, if you could, leave me a review or share with a friend. Thank you.